right. Good afternoon, garden friends. Today is the big day to get these beds planted up and also mulch. One of the things that we are going to do is hopefully I'll get Kevin to go ahead and put the coat of compost and manure on all the beds so that I can go ahead and get in here and get these beds planted up. Like I said, it is bare. I cut everything back just to get it prepared for winter, but then for everything to have a healthy start for spring. So let's go ahead and get started. Guys, because we are on a short time schedule, we both work full time. You know, Kevin and I try to come out throughout the day on breaks and lunches, you know, to get things done. So I got at least a good hour and a half to work on the garden. So I'll get the area over here, at least with the compost and topsoil down. And then over in the bigger area, you know, I'll have Kevin be bringing things up so I can go ahead and get these beds set up. And what I'll do is get my plants laid out, let you know what I'm putting in here, and then we will go from there. Okay, so this is how I'm going to lay it out. I got 3 of the Sunblaze roses. So it's red, yellow, and then red. And the good thing about these, because my peonies are in the back, these guys will only get 1 to 1.5 foot tall. And then I worked in some of my wildflowers, which are purple and yellow. And then I'm lining up the bed with the pansies. And I think this is gonna look really nice. Plus, I have some Veronicas in here too. I think I might just get one more of the ones that I have and put in here so I have that consistency of 3. All right, guys, this is gonna look really good. Go ahead and get this mulch or planted and mulched up, and then we will continue to move our way down the garden bed. All right, so before I start getting the things I want in this bed here put in, as you guys can see, we had that horrible frost. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut back all of my echinacеas in here so this looks nice and orderly, so that I have an idea of where I'm going to be putting my other stuff. Now, a couple things that I am going to be doing back here. Oh, guys, I just love how Kevin made this walkway here. Because we moved my lighthouse and the fact that I have a full sun garden, I do have some drift roses that I'm going to be putting back here, along with some wildflowers, some tick seeds, and what have you. And then I got another grass, so that I'll have my 3 that line up here. So let me go get the plants. I'm gonna get everything laid out as far as how I want it to be. Oh, this is good. I was a little worried about my woodland phlox, but you can see there's new growth coming through on these guys because I so love them. I'm kind of hoping that one back there survive. I do see this one over here is doing well, and then I have bulbs all through here. And the funny thing is I got to remember where I had planted them, but we're going to go ahead and get this taken care of. The one thing that I am going to be also putting back here is I moved and thinned out a muley grass, and I'm trying to figure out where I want to put that. It just might be over there with the rest of the grasses to break up, the brown and have that pink. Okay, so I had my 3 grasses here, and I moved the other one. I went ahead and planted the muley grass right there. I think that'll end up looking pretty. You know, one of the things that I'm gonna be making sure, especially with my roses, keeping those guys nice and trim so they stay nice and full. I got some pansies that I end up putting here around the lantern. I have some hyssop. These guys will only get 18 inches tall. They're not like the real tall ones. Added some more pansies. I have a drift rose that is called, what is this called? Hold on. Popcorn. And look how beautiful that is going to be. I have some cornucopias here. Another popcorn drift with some pansies, my wallflowers here. And then guys, this is a ground cover that I'm going to work in here to help keep the dirt. And then that way we don't have to worry about any mulch, but it's called a creeping speedwell. And I think that is going to look really pretty. And then mimicked the pansies, the wallflowers, and another drift. I cleaned up my echinaceas. I trimmed back all of my irises, you know, because those guys grow on new flushes. So let me go ahead and get these plants planted in here, get the bed mulched, and then this entire section will be completed. And then I can move over into this area, back of this completed. But one of the things that I do, you know, because I do try to make my own compost, is the leaves Kevin's gonna suck up that get chopped up really, really well. We're gonna put back here to enrich the soil. And we did decide to trim back my boxwoods to have those guys in order. And what I'm gonna be doing, I did start, is back in here, get this all cleaned out. These vines, I'm gonna shape up my sunshine ligustrum back here. Go ahead and get this hydrangea shaped up and cut back for all the branches that are coming out this way. And we did dig up my cannas because they were sort of blocking my evergreen from getting the full sun around it. But this is what I'm gonna be finishing up on this entire section, and then I will show you guys what everything looks like cleaned up and planted up. All right guys, I'm excited to be able to show you what the area before the meadow garden looks like and how the meadow garden is now. I'm really happy with how it turned out. So come along with me while I show you what we got accomplished. All right, like I said, was able to get my hydrangeas limbed up and thinned out. I'm going to end up doing a harder cut this spring when I take the plumes off, and then also finish getting any of the spindly branches or ones that might be coming out a little too far to keep them from blocking my spreas on both sides. But this ended up turning out so nice. My miniature roses, having my guineas line up the back, and then like I said, I went ahead and put in the lemon coral sedum in those boxes to allow it to spill over. I think that's going to look gorgeous. The wallflowers that I have here that are in the yellow and the purple, this is going to be so bright. And then of course when the forsythia starts to bud, oh my goodness, look at this. Okay guys, this weather has them not knowing what they should be doing. Look at that, I got a bloom on there. I got a couple blooms on here. This weather is crazy. But the woodland garden, while it's not blooming, it is now nice and healthy. Everything cut back. The pathway you can end up seeing. And then like I said, over here, irises that I cut back. Once again, to put the lemon coral sedum there. And then all in here are more of the woodland phlox that got beat down by the freezing weather. And then my quick fires all cut back, limbing them up so that they wouldn't spill over. Penstemon, echinaceas, and then I also too lined up the bed with the pansies. In the spring, I'll cut back my larapi in here. The new rose that I planted here, which I think is called cotton candy. And then how the pansies, everything looks. And then look at this, guys. This is that creeping Veronica. I ended up putting mulch because the squirrels kept digging. And then one of the things Kevin's gonna do is he's gonna put me a handrail here. So that'll end up looking nice. And then the roses, the tick seed over there. This is going to be bursting with colors. I have my hyssop right there, and those guys only get 18 inches, and I think it'll look really nice, flanking the lighthouse. And then one of the things that I ended up doing, because I also have like the really tall hyssop. So those little sticks back there are the hyssop. My one spiderwort I planted here, and then that is my blue thistle, because I had it planted in the back, one of the beds, and these guys like sun. And it grew, but it did not flower. So I'm kind of hoping that it's going to end up doing well here. As I stated, all of my roses, as you can see, I opened them up, cut them back, and they already got new flowers on it. The limelight is cut along with the other roses. Now, one of the things that I'm going to end up doing is I already got the hole dug right there in between the two roses. I have a lantana that I had in a pot, and it didn't do too well, and then it wasn't getting as much sun as it needed. So the lantana, which I think it's Miss Molly, I believe it is, that's going to be there. And then more of my pansies and my grass. Oh, and then I did move my muley grass here so that I have that break with the bright pink color in here. Cleaned up my other echinaceas and my irises. And then this here is my Mexican miniature or dwarf petunias. More of my daylilies that are doing well. I did end up cutting back this hydrangea to give room for my evergreen. And I think this is going to look really nice. Now, the one thing that I did do is right here, which I got to get finished with this bed, was I had some Shasta daisies that I put back here because where they were at, they weren't doing too well. You know, guys, me redoing this metal garden area is more than me just refreshing my plants or, clearing up our pathway. It's about reflecting change that life brings and the lessons that they, have us thinking about after, especially losing my father and then trying to navigate through this emotional shift that ends up following. I find myself looking at my garden with a different set of eyes. Changes has a way of, just slowing us down, making us rethink about what matters and encourages us to make room for what truly supports our well-being. I realized that as I worked in the garden, and especially in the meadow garden, I wasn't just rearranging my flowers, I was rearranging pieces of my heart, clearing out overgrowth, lifting what no longer is thriving, and creating spaces for light felt really symbolic. With each decision, I understood a little more about how we hold on to things, sometimes out of habit, sometimes out of fear, and freeing it can be the best thing for us. Honoring my father through this space has given me a sense of grounding I didn't expect. There have been moments when the garden felt heavy, but the act of gardening reminded me that healing often lives in movement and watching new life take shape. This meadow now carries both memories and renewal. All right, guys, that is the end of this makeover. It was something that needed to be done, not only for the health of my garden, but also the health of my heart. I hope you enjoyed seeing the transformation and taking this journey with me. And I look forward to you checking out my next video. Have a great day.